Brian, a very difficult week for the football club with Stuart handing in his resignation on Monday. Can you tell us the timeline of events of how that all unfolded?
Yeah, the players were off on Monday, and I actually got a call from his agent in the morning, said he'd spoken to Stuart on Sunday and he seemed really down. Stuart did take any defeat really badly, so I didn't think anything was abnormal with that. I tried to phone Stuart just to check he was okay, which I would normally speak to him or phone him on a Monday depending on the training schedule. And Stuart came into office maybe an hour later and sat down and just started speaking about how he was feeling, which, if I'm honest, I just was not expecting it to be as bad as what he was saying and how he was feeling. And for somebody who's so strong-willed in his character and a very determined nature, for him to be feeling the way he was feeling, that he wanted to resign because he felt that was the best thing for him and his family, was quite a shock to me, if I'm honest. I think it came totally from left field. I said to him about your record and the number of injuries we've got, and explained that. I said, but deep down, if I take my Motherwell hat off and take it on a personal level, how can I try and dissuade somebody who wants to resign for the best interests of his family? So I didn't feel right morally trying to talk him out of beyond that. I just said, look, whatever you want to do here, we'll support you at the football club. If that's definitely what you want to do, then we'll do it. Gave him plenty of opportunities through the day because he hung about all day. He was there all day. We spoke about it. But yeah, I think Stuart being Stuart, again, once he's got his mind made up about something, he doesn't deviate from it.
Have you had contact with Stuart since Monday? How is he coping?
Yeah, I spoke to him on Tuesday afternoon, I think, just for a little bit, just to see how he was. He seemed a bit brighter, to be honest with you. I know, having spoken to some of the staff closer to the football department who see Stuart on a daily basis, they were quite concerned about him, how he was. Now, this has been a build-up. When Stuart started speaking to me, it's been a build-up over a number of weeks to get to the stage that he did what he did. And when he had the conversation on Monday, he spoke about his family leaving games. He spoke about his dad and his brother, the Aberdeen game back in December. So I think from Stuart's psychology, this has been a kind of build-up to get to this stage. And I was quite surprised with the Aberdeen game, which we obviously won, for his dad and his brother to leave the game, for his wife and family to leave early from the St Johnstone game, and his wee boy being in the state he was in. Is horrible to hear, because I think we said that in our statement, that no person should feel that way. No employee of any football club should feel that way. So that's been disappointing. We've had a number of emails this week from people, which, to be honest with you, I just haven't had 2 minutes to reply to as many any of them, if I'm honest. It's quite clear that we didn't feel that it was every Motherwell supporter had it in for Stuart. We've had a lot of emails of support for Stuart, a lot of people asking me to pass messages of support on to Stuart, which is great. And I told Stuart that on the phone when I spoke to him on Tuesday afternoon. I will continue to keep in touch with Stuart just to make sure he's okay. He's the kind of guy that left the house at 6 in the morning, was in here at 6:30 and left here at 7:30 at night. So it'll be a big change to his routine, because he just plunged everything at this football club.
Did Stuart indicate how long this abuse, is how we've used that word, but how long has this been going on for?
He didn't give any timelines, other than he gave me some examples of things that had happened in relation to his family. So the January game against Aberdeen, obviously, so that's been a number of weeks. He just felt that it was becoming too much, and this is what really surprises me, because Stuart is, he's such a strong personality, but I think it's just purely the effect on his family that's. I think if Stuart had been a single man, then he might still have been here. But to have the effect that he's had on his parents who come to games, his brother that comes to games, and his own children and his wife and that kind of thing, has just been too much for him.
It's obviously quite unusual for a football club to kind of be so transparent with something like this. What was the thought process there by just stating publicly the honest reason?
Why not? Why not just declare the facts? You know, I'm a great believer in honesty. When we spoke about putting the statement out on Monday afternoon, we said, well, I think the best philosophy is we just tell the truth as we always would, and say, look, this is what's happened. You know, you can't go into massive amount of detail in a statement, especially when it's to do with the manager. But I felt we just wanted to be transparent with everybody, and so that everybody understood it. You know, a lot of Motherwell fans, I say, I've emailed in quite shocked by the situation. Obviously the media have been quite shocked by it by all accounts as well, and we've had a lot of requests to do different medias. You know, I have personally as well, and I've knocked everyone back because I don't think it's right on Stuart, and we need to move on as a football club at the same time.
You talk about moving on. Where does the club stand now with this? Because obviously it's out there that this happened. How does the club monitor this going forward for not only the next manager but for all club employees?
Listen, this is a problem. Abuse in football is I've been in the game for 30 years, and I've been at 4 different clubs. You know, you're always going to get a minority of people who will come to the football to shout and squeal and etc, which I get it. Every passions are running very, very high. I think with so much being played out in social media nowadays, that doesn't help. You know, even this week we've seen a couple of articles in the paper affecting, you know, Swansea, and we've seen the Wraith Rovers player coming out saying something as well. So it shows you that these things are not just Motherwell related. You know, all clubs have sections of support who will be hard on players, management, etc. But, you know, in my opinion, you know, if you take players, for example, players are, you know, young guys with families, parents that are probably at the game, and I think everybody in football, and this isn't just for Motherwell, this is across football generally, we need to understand that, you know, when a player kicks a ball out the pitch, for example, as a mistake, he doesn't intentionally do that. He isn't not trying his best, and he's probably got family at the game watching him, and I think people need to be more aware that I've never seen a player improve after being booed or shouted at. Their performance seems to go downhill more than anything else, and as I say, I've never seen anybody think, oh, actually I better play better because somebody's shouting at me.
As difficult a situation as this has been this week, from a professional point of view, the club moves on, looking to appoint the next manager. How has that been in the early stages for you to process all the applications that came through? It's
been difficult because there have been so many phone calls from agents and people showing interest in the position. I really struggle when within 2 or 3 minutes of putting an article out explaining the situation, a statement out, that you've got people on the phone asking about their clients. I struggle with that, but I also have to tell myself, look, that's football, which it is. You know, the football club needs to move on. They're trying to look after their clients. It's been, you know, a process in the last, you know, I think we had over 50 in 24 hours applications. It's starting to slow a little bit, but I can feel my phone buzzing twice since we've been doing this interview in my pocket. So it's fairly constant. You know, we've had interest from all over the world without getting into specifics. And it's now a case of trying to go through the information we received and try and sift that to try and take that forward to the next step. Because, you know, whilst we've got Celtic on Sunday, and Stevie and John and the backroom team are brilliant. You know, they've kept everybody together. The players obviously were upset at Stuart leaving. There actually are, you know, I spoke to Paul McGinn the other night there about it, and to see if he was okay, and he said they were actually a really tight group. Every single one of those players in that dressing room, he said, I've never seen this before, but every single one of those players in that dressing room was with Stuart and the backroom team, so we're all a bit shocked by it. But hopefully, you know, that we can turn our attention to the game Sunday. We've no game next weekend, so, you know, the sooner we can get somebody in, because we do need to move on.
You say no game next weekend. Does that inclined you look to get someone in the next couple of weeks? Is it going to be a process of trying to get it sooner rather than later?
Ideally you get them in sooner rather than later, but I think it's also really important we get the right person, and if that takes longer than what our ideal timescales, then it's important to get the right person.